Imagine a generation of students who are equipped with the art of financial management and wealth creation skills. These students are capable of managing their wealth and making very viable and avid decisions to aid them to be very, very, very highly great contributors to the African economy and whole lot. And that's why today on AAU Talks, I'll be interacting with a global leader and astute analyst and investment and advisory leader who is well versed and imbued in the art of wealth creation and management, who'll be engaging us on the need to foster wealth management training lessons in the African students. Guess what? Maybe the African student stands to gain all of these skills to be able to make sound decisions and also contribute effectively to the African economy. So stay with us. I'll let you know who he is. And as usual, zoom to discussion. We'll be right back. You're welcome back on AAU Talks. My name is Agyemang Okyere Darko, the voice of higher education in Africa. And today, the need to foster capacity building in wealth management and creation in the African higher education setting for students. And you know what? The argument is two-way. Are students capable of managing their finances, make the best decisions, and also contribute effectively to the economy on their own through higher education? Or there's a need to also invite a new curriculum on wealth management and creation. Today on AAU Talks, I have with me Mr. Benjamin Acheampong, who is a wealth management and creation analyst and expert for over 20 years. Sir, you're welcome to AAU Talks.
Thank you, and it's a pleasure.
Great. The argument is wide, but I believe today we can narrow in. Everybody around, grab your pens and papers. That's what we do on AAU Talks. We make notes, we learn. Sir, welcome to Ghana.
Thank you.
How's it been in Ghana?
I've been in Ghana for almost about a week now, and I'm enjoying it. The weather is great, the waters and everything, enjoying it.
Great. Well, we're glad to have you here because we're about to see from a different angle and a different element within the African higher education that we're not so used to, wealth management training in African students. What exactly is the inspiration behind a wealth management training in the African students?
Thank you very much, Mr. Agyemang, for this question. It is an initiative that I believe that we have to inculcate into the African higher education. The bottom line, if you go to school, whatever that you learn, at the end of the day, you need money.
Yeah.
You need money. Now, money alone itself needs to be curated.
Yeah.
Then you manage it. However, you look at our curriculum in Africa, which I'm a product of it some years ago.
Yeah.
You realize that you are taught the skills. You have the theory. So you learn all kinds of skills, how to do the job. So you learn how to trade, how to do everything. But then product which gives you the money, you realize that you need a set of skill set to be able to manage it and to multiply it if you are going to curate wealth and to be able to live a lifestyle of your own choice, not being determined for you by somebody. And therefore, I believe that if we inculcate it into the African education curriculum, it will be of a help to the student.
You know, right from the inception of the program, we see some great prospects in there that the program has some good meaning or has some good, let's say, a good package for its audience. But looking at all the stakeholders involved, we went past management, faculties, and we looked at students. Why are students the core targets for a wealth management training program?
Train a child the way he should go. And when he grows up, he will
They
not
won't
leave.
depart. Okay.
So as a student, your mind is a fertile ground. It's been prone, it's been whatever, and it's ready to absorb knowledge. Therefore, we're targeting the student because they are the ones that will later graduate and go into the world of business and begin to do business. And they will be in charge of institutions, departments, and all kinds of, you call it government apparatus. Now, if these people are graduating and what they need to learn, they don't learn, and they now graduate and they are heading institutions where there is a budget allocation, but they don't know how to manage the finances that has been allocated to them, you're causing the whole nation, the whole continent, and then you see the effects that Africa is going through. I normally say that Africa is not poor. Africa is not poor. It's the problem has got to do with the management of the resources that we have. There are other countries that I will not mention their name on the program. They have nothing, basically nothing. All that they have is the human resource. But yet they've been able to manage the things that they have, and then Africa goes to them to borrow. Yet they have nothing, literally nothing. They produce nothing. Yet Africa goes there to borrow. Why? It's because of the effective management of their resources. And if you effectively manage the little that you have, you can multiply it. So the student that we're talking about is very key for them to learn, because they are the ones that are coming to manage the resources of Africa.
Would you say so? Over 50 years or 6 decades of African continent, over 60 years, so 6 decades of African continent transcending over barriers and coming this far, we have actually lost touch of such a huge gap of inculcating the art of personal finance creation, personal finance management within our education system. You say we've actually left a huge gap for all this well?
I would say yes, we've left it, because you see the curriculum that some of us went through years ago, now I can see the change, but I mean, I'm not schooling here, so I'll not be able to talk much about the curriculum. This curriculum was designed by the colonial masters, a slave master. There is nobody who can be greater than the master. All right, so the curriculum was designed to produce floor workers, people that needs to memorize instructions being given by the master. So when you come, you memorize it, you point, you do exactly what the master is telling you to do. You are not allowed to question. You are not allowed to investigate. Okay, so it's a mental programming. And this, when you produce people to follow instruction, but not to question the instruction, you are producing poor people. Now, poor people is a mental thing. Poverty actually is a mental thing. So you can have abundance of resources and still be poor. And that is what we're seeing in Africa. Natural mineral resources, you call it the human resource, the labor force. Yet the continent looks so poor. It's because the curriculum was not produced to be able to produce. The outcome of the curriculum is what we are seeing now. So over 60 years, 63, whatever years, that gap is left. And therefore, as a higher institution, we need to critically look at the curriculum. You see, it's Albert Einstein who said that it's only the lunatic, is the fool, who actually constantly do something repeatedly and still expect a different result. Your input actually determines your output. So if you don't want your output, you got to look at the input. And if over 60 years of independence, we're still producing poor economies, then it means that our input is a problem. And therefore, let's go to the problem and do something about it. And that is why the students, okay, is very key, because they are the ones that are learning. You can't teach an old dog a new trick. If somebody is ahead of whatever institution is old, are you going to now teach him or her how to manage his finances? He can learn. But if you come to the student level, that is your input, because they are the ones that will graduate to come and head these institutions. All right, so therefore, you realize that that gap has been created, and it was designed purposely to produce poor people. So if we affect the input, then the outcome. And that's what this program focuses on, the student. And therefore, if we deal with them, we believe that for the next 60 years, there should be a lot of millionaires and billionaires in this continent.
That should happen. That should happen. And interestingly, it should happen. You know, there are arguments from opposite ends, and I hope we can have the moment to perhaps debunk or perhaps address these arguments, that wealth creation and management is so much of, let's say, it's so much beyond the higher education system. We are training people in skilled areas to perhaps produce something and then market it. But wealth management, how are we going to teach it? How are we going to actually train it? How do you do it?
All right. So this is not something that, yeah, I know that there are courses over there. I mean, you have courses on finances, you have courses on investment, courses on budget allocation, risk management. All these things are courses that you will learn. But actually, wealth creation is an art. Money, okay, is a science. There's a psychology to money.
Okay.
There's a psychology to money. You know, if you know the law of attraction, okay, money is a psychology, and if you have the psychology to it, you be able to attract money. Some of us, we don't pray for money. Money comes. Okay, so what we are trying to say is that, listen, we can teach you, and you cannot give what you don't have.
Yeah.
And therefore, some of us that have been in this practice for a long time, we know the science and we know the art. All right. So people are learning all these skills and stuff like that. We'll be able to show you the shortest route to make money. And there's no 419, there's no lottery. Even have you seen that there are people who normally win the lottery and still turn out to be poor and start begging on the street? Is because they didn't learn how to manage, because it's a psychological thing. One ordinary person make money, the first thing that he thinks about, buying a flashy car, buying the shoe, buying whatsoever. No, automatically your mind is a poverty thing, you know. So we believe that we should be able to bring this training. If the person has done it, then the person can teach you how to do it.
And we'll talk more about the intricacies of this whole wealth management activity by helping you understand its relevance and also its importance. Stay with us, we'll be back with more. If you just joined us, it's AAU Talks on AAU TV, the voice of higher education in Africa, and I'm joined with Mr. Benjamin Acheampong, who is the president and CEO of the World Masters Group International. And we're looking at the need to foster student capacity through wealth management training. And so let's now try and go back into some antecedents with your background. You know, how did you start? Did you just wake up and say, I want to be an expert in wealth management and creation? How did you really end up where you are?
Thank you very much for that question. So what I would say to that is that, no, I didn't just wake up. I think it's something that has been designed, but life must be lived purposefully.
Okay.
It must be intentional. It must be by design. It must be by a path curated by the universe. And you need to understand that the universe controls the physical. And therefore, I started as, I mean, normally when I say this, it's so funny. I wanted to become a pilot.
Okay.
Because one time we were at Kotoka International Airport with my dad, seeing his boss off to Europe. And I saw the way they flight, and I said to Dad, you know what, one day I would like to fly this jet.
Wow.
But it happened that Dad didn't have enough money, so I ended up studying engineering, mechanical engineering, specializing in automobiles, and completed work a little bit at dry docks. But there's always something in me that thing is freedom. I hate, when I use the word hate, not hate in that way, but I don't want you to tell me when to wake up, when to go to bed, what I can eat, what I cannot eat. I want my freedom, freedom for everything, freedom of choice. And I think Ghana is freedom and justice. So we believe in the freedom, but not the justice. That's another story for another time.
All right.
All right. So I want freedom. I want freedom. So it was on this, and I realized that no, I have to become a problem solver. And some of the things that we'll be able to do to be able to solve problems, always, not everything is money, but money has influence. That's number one. The second part is that I saw a high level of poverty. Okay, I didn't grow up on a silver platter. It was very tough for the old man to feed. I mean, 6 children. It was very tough for him. And one time I remember I came back from school and I saw Dad on the bed, and Dad was in tears, and I knew that, it was tough for the old man. So it was at that point I decided, I'm out of this shit. I mean, I'm out of this kind of problems, So it was there that I determined to make sure that I will get out of this. I don't come from a rich family, but a rich family must come out of me.
Sure.
And therefore, I took the journey. And the journey is not in abroad. I started from here by learning, by reading, by studying, and by determining and denying myself of the pleasures. No girlfriend. I wasn't interested. I wasn't interested in television. I'm not interested in any cantata or also those days of concert party. I deny myself of all that. And I stay focused. And I said that I didn't give myself specific time, but I said that after certain years, I should be able to choose my own time, when to travel, when to sleep, what to eat, where to eat. So it was something that was burning in me. And as God will have it, as the universe will have it, you see, everything is the mind. If you can, your mind can grasp the future now, you can have it later. But if you can't grasp it, if you can't see how your life will turn out in 5 years, no, you're not making any headway. All right. So to cut it to chase, these are some of the things that I did. And then for over 20 years, I've been around those also who have made it. Those who started from scratch and they've made it. And I learned from them. Some of them I have to literally pay them for them to show me how to get certain things done. Okay, and what you need to do, of which some of these things by tomorrow we will reveal some of these things and we'll be helping students. So to wrap it up, I would say that it was some of these things that led me, but it is hard work. That aspect I cannot overemphasize. It's very hard. The choices. If I have option to eat 2 eggs, I won't eat it. I will eat one and say one for tomorrow, no matter how hungry I am. Because tomorrow I don't want to buy another egg. If I have the opportunity to buy clothes, okay, I'm not going to buy 5 clothes. If I have the money, I'll buy one that is quality and I can use it for 10 years instead of buying more of them but changing them. I don't mind wearing one trouser, one suit, and change it over a period of, I don't care about your opinion. Your thoughts doesn't make, the last time I checked, your opinion doesn't pay my bills. So I don't care. And so these are some of the things that we've been able to do, and by God's grace, we've been able to get here. And today we're teaching it out.
I feel like there is so much passion behind your journey, and now that you're going to have access to students, where are you going to start from? I mean, the whole world management training process, where would they start from? From their mind, from their hearts? Where exactly are they beginning from?
The first thing I'll be showing them is know who you are. You see, you can't have it all and you can't do it all. God is so wise that he has placed everything that we need to create wealth. So it's going to be the wealth creation and then the management. If you haven't created anything, how do you manage it? That's why there's a whole lot of broken things in Africa and in Ghana, all right, because they don't curate it, so they don't know how to manage it. If you curate it, sometimes they say rich people are stingy. They are not stingy. Tomorrow I'll teach them the 5 jars, okay, why rich people don't just throw money out. Okay, so if you create it, you will know how to manage. You see, the people, there's always money borrowing from IMF and whatever, because they've not created their own money. How can they manage it? So you keep borrowing and it will keep going away. But if you curate it, you will know the sweat of curating it. So we'll talk about that. But the first thing is know who you are. Knowing who you are and what you will be able to do. Then know who you need to partner with, who you need to surround yourself with. You need to know which books to read, which movies to read, to watch, which type of music to listen to. It's a psychological thing. So if you surround yourself with all these things, money will come to you without anything. Money comes. Money comes. It comes automatically.
Okay.
And how does it come? It comes by people calling you and saying, hey, listen, I've got this opportunity and I think you're fit for it. That's how money comes.
I see.
But it's a key thing here that sometimes people don't look at it. That is integrity. Doing what you say you will do and honoring your word. it's a spiritual law. Many people say things, but they don't honor it.
Yeah.
Because when they say something and they know that it's going to cause them, they give flimsy excuses. But when you speak into the atmosphere grasps it and is looking for you to honor it. So integrity is key also in creating wealth because it can hear. Another time. Thank you very much.
There's a lot to talk about. I'm caught within the web of your words because everybody needs these kind of words and counsel to be able to navigate their way through this whole complex world. But more importantly, for the kind of people who are looking at the students, were you struck by the notes that the average African youth is a spendthrift? We spend too much, or we overspend, or we spend obsessively. We don't even know what we're doing with our money. Have you had any insight on that?
Yeah, and that problem is what the colonial masters created. It's identity crisis. You see, when you are able to change the culture of a people, change their names and change their language, you don't need change. You don't need change.
Okay.
If you are able to change the culture of a people, you don't need change anymore. So that is what the colonial master. But you see, you can't keep blaming them, because for how long will you keep blaming them? So they created what we call identity crisis.
Yeah.
So the person thinks that when he buys Prada, Gucci, Gabbana, okay, you are just buying somebody's name. That makes them feel important. Okay. Yeah, I love my suit. I live in Europe. But if I were to be here, I'd be wearing freestyle. Okay, I have fresh air, good water. So it's an identity crisis. The person feels that when he wears a certain kind of shoe, a certain kind of watch, dress a certain way and speak a certain way, it will bring value. Okay, so this materialistic things makes them think that if I put it on, that will give me value. But it's a false sense of value. Okay, value is built inside out by knowing who you are. And therefore, they spend that much. Sometimes I look at the people, how much do you earn for you to be driving this car? But you see, it's a status thing. Because if I walk in here with my slippers, they will look at me, it says that he's in whatever. Is it that kind of perception? All right. So this has made the youth, okay, to spend more than necessary, because they are also looking forward to impress. Okay, the men are looking to impress the women. The women are also looking to impress the men.
Yeah.
Okay, but they will tell you if the guy doesn't, okay, this is the person you're moving out with. Okay, and I always say this in some of my talks, that, years ago, if you had seen me, I don't think that you will even invite me. But you see, it is not the appearance of the person. And that's what Luther King said. We will not be judged by the appearance of our color, but the content of our character.
Yeah.
So if you can know the content of a person's character, that tells you that, no, this person has got a great future. And therefore, today he might not have it, but I got to stick with him or her, because together we can build a future together. So this kind of thing, this identity crisis thing, okay, has made people to be spent. And I think we need to deal with it. We need to lay the axe to the root and then be proud of who we are. I am an African. I am an African, black and colored. I love my culture, and you cannot change me.
Yeah.
That is who I am.
Yeah. It's refreshing. And, besides accepting who we are and our identity, the other thing that we also want to look at is, besides financial management, besides wealth management training, what qualities must these students possess, to be a very, let's say, ardent student within the wealth management training session, and not really throwing resources into the ocean indiscriminately? We want to be sure that we have the right kind of people. What are some of the qualities these students must possess to be qualified and election-sure students, to be able to bear the knowledge and make good use of it at the end of the day?
Two things. Number one, be willing to learn.
Okay.
I don't care. You might have PhD. You don't know everything. You might have masters. One of the things I see in this content, once you finish school, you have a piece of paper. A piece of paper in your hands. All right?
Yeah.
They think that they've got a world. No, my friend, you haven't got the whole world into you. It's just a piece of paper to show that for 3 years you wasted your time in an institution that was going to make you poor. So be coachable, be teachable, have a teachable spirit. Walk to somebody who has made it and say, sir, madam, how can I serve you? I want to learn. And number two, take action. Be actionable. Be somebody who is willing to work yourself out of poverty. If you can have these two skill sets, these characteristics, the world is reachable.
We can't say anything less or anything more than what he just said about being actionable and also being teachable. This is where time can afford us, because there's a whole lot more that you have to also tune into. It's Wealth Management One-on-One workshop series happening on the 9th of February 2024 at the AAU Secretariat, and this program will also be available to you if you tune into AAU TV on the 9th of February. And if you can be here physically, you can also have a time with the speaker and also benefit from other networking opportunities. But more important is that you have to understand that it's all about you being actionable and you being teachable. So until we come away next time, it's an amazing time, sir. Thank you so much for making time with us on AAU Talks, passing through and also sharing some very important nuggets. We hope that this will bring some transformation within the African continent. It's timed out. My name is Agyemang Okyere Darko with AAU Talks, the voice of higher education in Africa. Have a nice day and bye.